Credit to Vic Fangio for stealing money from the Philadelphia Eagles
Mm-hmm.
organization. Credit to Vic
Credit
Fangio.
to
Yes.
stretching out that story. I think I read like 5 times of like Vic Fangio officially signs with the Dolphins today. I was like, I thought this was done like 2 weeks ago. Like what? Like
He
how
just
is
had
this?
like two weeks of just media coverage.
He did. He like stretched it out of like, oh no, like he didn't actually officially sign today. Think he's talking to the Niners. Oh nope, might be talking to the Broncos today. Oh no, officially signs with Dolphins. Oh nope. Here's the official press conference announcing Vic
Yep.
Fangio as our defensive coordinator. Yeah,
Taking
that one.
advantage.
Holy shit.
Taking advantage of that news cycle, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys are forcing me to get into it. Welcome everyone. We're the Sports Buds. It's the end of the season for us. We wanted to wrap this up. I was gone for the Super Bowl show. Would have been a bigger show, but I was dying because I found out Kevin Durant was going to the Suns. Patrick Mahomes won an MVP that day. Had to go to the ER. Just that's the way of sports.
Yeah.
So glad to be back. Nick, Tony, how are you guys doing? Let's start with you, Nick.
Doing all right. It was a good game. Sad the season's over, but not really. Wasn't that great of a season. Expected better.
It was not a good game. It was not a good season. I will thoroughly push back on that. Tony, how are you doing?
I guess I'm doing a little bit better than you, staying out of the ER.
Mhm.
I will agree with you guys, not the best season, but it could have been a little bit worse for me. So I'm gonna take that bittersweet ending of the season that I got.
Fair enough, fair enough. So yes, like I said, I don't really want to be here. One of the worst NFL seasons I've ever experienced personally as a fan. But you know what? I do it for the fans. I do it for my co-hosts. This is the NFL season wrap-up show. Gentlemen, we'll start with Super Bowl. What'd you think of the game? Clearly you know my thoughts. We'll start with you, Tony.
The Eagles lost that game, right? Just want to
Yeah.
make sure that the Eagles lost that game because it seems like there's a lot of celebrating Jalen Hurts and all this storyline going around the Eagles. I just want to get something straight. I wrote these things down because I was like, let's get it right. Jalen Hurts is on a rookie contract. That was the best game of Jalen Hurts' career. They had a 10-point lead in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes was injured. The Chiefs missed a field goal in the first half. They had the easiest schedule to the Super Bowl in recent memory, and they lost. I think the saying is, if you come at the king, you better not miss. They missed. Why are we celebrating this? Is it ever going to get easier for Hurts and the Eagles? That was their opportunity. They fumbled it away. Literally. That's how they lost that game. The Chiefs, I'm sorry. We're all prisoners in Chiefs Kingdom now. They've overtaken the Patriots as the dynasty that everyone is chasing. That's the standard. I mean, I don't know why all these people are hyping up Jalen Hurts and all this stuff now and the Eagles. They lost. They're never going to get a better chance than they did at the Chiefs. The Chiefs were rebuilding this year. Like, I'm sorry, Billings. It sucks. I know. Patrick Mahomes is that guy. He's in your division. That's just how it is, man. Those are I'm like, the Chiefs are that team. Like, they're probably gonna be in this conversation for the next 5 years. Like, there's a standard. Hopefully someone figures out a way to beat the Chiefs. Like, that's a more interesting conversation to me than like ranking quarterbacks at this point.
I hate you. I don't want to be here. Nick, what'd you think on the game?
I mean, I enjoyed the game because one, Tom Brady was not playing in it. Two, it wasn't a blowout. And
Fair?
three, I hit one on one of my squares for the first time in 17 years. So
Always good.
I enjoyed the game. I didn't really care who won either way. So seeing the Chiefs come out on top, I know it sucks for Chris, but I've been there. I watched the Patriots go to many Super Bowls. So I feel your pain. I just glad it's not my pain anymore.
Thank you, thank you. Well, my thoughts on the game, Eagles had that game. I can sit there and play into it and lean into it that the NFL's rigged and all that all I want, but reality is that yeah, the everything Tony said was correct. The Eagles thoroughly had that game and then just shit it away. I texted Tony like midway through that game of like, Eagles are playing Bill Cowher ball right now, and I love it. Like, time and possession, just taking away the ball from Patrick Mahomes, just ground and pound, and it just all dissipated. I joked before the show that Patrick Mahomes, like, he only played like a half a quarter of football in this game and still won. And I don't know how you beat that. I don't know how you beat someone like Travis Kelce. Andy Reid's clearly just like locked in with the weapons that he does have. And yeah, it's just I I said it throughout the season that the Chiefs are just they look like an unstoppable juggernaut. They look like the best team in football. As I say it constantly, they're playing with cats out there, and they did that even in the Super Bowl of just playing with your food a little bit before you finally decide to eat it. And we've seen that in a previous Super Bowl. We've seen that in previous conference championships. So I don't know what to say about this Chiefs team. Sucks for me as a Broncos fan personally because you don't want to see that, but they are a dynasty right now. They are the team to beat. They are just basically unstoppable as it is right now. So it was a good game. I will say, NFL officiating is just it's bad. It's bad right now.
Yeah.
You can't like that call at the end of that game, you can't call that at the end of a Super Bowl. Especially you have to know in the moment. There has to be this situational awareness of like, no, the Eagles are still very much in this. Can have this game go to overtime, and they didn't have that situational awareness. Like, and even us as fans, like, I recognize that no, he can't make that call in that moment, a ticky-tack foul. So I will say that as a final note that like NFL officiating was just like we saw it throughout the regular season, but I think it bubbled up even more so in the playoffs, and you hate to see that. And so doubt anything's done about it in the off season, as we've heard Roger Goodell say there's no problem. So that were my thoughts on the game. We'll move to halftime show. A little bit of a disagreement here that we texted about. So I'll start with you, Nick. What'd you think of the halftime show with Rihanna?
I enjoyed it. I thought there was the speculation someone else coming out, but we found out what that was. She's pregnant again. I enjoyed it. I enjoy her music. I think
I
she
don't
put
know
on a
if you
good
guys
show.
did what all guys did of just like, is she pregnant? Like, it was kind of clear that she
Or is
was,
it
but
still
you
some
just are
baby
like,
fat?
yeah,
Yeah.
like, is this like a wardrobe malfunction? No. So yeah, like I wanted to wait till it was officially confirmed that she was pregnant.
Yeah.
But go on, Nick.
No, I enjoyed the halftime show. It's basically what we've moved to now because we're not going to get any of those older rock bands anymore because they're all too old to do anything. This has been the music for the last 20 years. You're not going to get older stuff like that. I know a lot of people complain that I wish it was like the old shows, but it's just the time we're in right now.
Like, I disagreed because I found it kind of just simple and flat. I'm all for like, bring me the guest appearances, like bring me Katy Perry riding a tiger into the stadium. So maybe it
Yeah.
was just a little too simple for me. Also, I'm not like the biggest Rihanna fan as well. Probably not as familiar with her catalog as most people. So that could have been it as well. But yeah, it seemed like most people enjoyed it. Tony, what were your thoughts on it?
I've had some time to figure this out. This is what I've come to. Rihanna did not get paid for that halftime show.
No one does.
She used Apple to go ahead and have the most expensive pregnancy announcement of all time. Dear God, that's all that show was. Subliminal messaging, the little sperms, all the white suits. Come on, man. That was just a pregnancy announcement. And then I saw that Apple now has like They just make that like a digital concert and they sell it, the halftime show. They have a deal for the next 5 years with the NFL to do that for the halftime shows. They paid $250 million for. So like that's what the halftime shows are going to be like for the next 5 years. Some like visual concert thing that they can package and market and sell on Apple. And so like that's why that concert was like the Super Smash Brothers stage and the crazy visuals and choreography. And that's what I was like, I've never seen a halftime show like this. What am I watching? I'm at a concert or something. Like, how is all of this happening during halftime of this game? Like, they're like putting her up on these stages, they're elevating her hundreds of feet, they're like moving all these multiple things. I was like, what's there's like hundreds of people choreographed doing all this crap. I was like, what is happening right now? But yes, that's the true thing that's happening. Rihanna leveraging Apple for a pregnancy announcement and us getting entertained with some type of little visual concert. It was okay.
Seems like most people enjoyed it. I guess us old whites, weren't impressed. So see what they bring to us next year. As Nick said, like you don't have any more Tom Petty's, like you can't do the Rolling Stones anymore. Can't do like Paul McCartney. So yeah, like we're aging out of a certain era. I think that was also kind of apparent last year with kind of the LA California halftime show that they did of just like, yeah, we're moving into a new generation, new era of music. So
Yeah, because even before that, it was the one before that, the one with J-Lo and Shakira.
Yeah.
it was the weekend actually, I think before
Oh,
that.
that's right. Yeah.
He had the weird, COVID
Yeah, the weird one.
weekend year. So but no, I'm all for it. Like you have a different audience now, different generations, so move forward. All right. What do we think this means for the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes going forward? We've kind of alluded to it, all three of us, but I guess it's just a final word on the Chiefs and Mahomes of where the next step is for them. I'll start with you, Tony.
It's going to be a problem, man. They're just going to continue to stay aggressive. They're going to stay in that AFC playoff race like consistently. I assume it's going to be similar to the Patriots. And then every now and then they're going to have a year where they're just better and they figure out a way to beat teams and then they win another Super Bowl. I mean, I don't know how many rings this dude will win. I don't know any of that. I know he's really good. I know there'll be a problem. I expect him to play probably in a couple more Super Bowls.
Nick, go ahead.
I mean, I completely agree with you because Mahomes is already under contract. Kelsey's under contract. You keep them two together, they can do anything. So I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in the next couple Super Bowls.
Agreed. Unfortunately, we'll most likely see them in a few more Super Bowls, and I don't see any contention from their divisional opponents anytime soon. So, like maybe Justin Herbert and the Chargers, but
Yeah.
like they're too young and inexperienced to probably challenge them at this point. But now, like we're seeing like a reiteration of the Patriots, just a weak division. I guess I'd say a fairly weak conference and a phenomenal quarterback, phenomenal tight end. So hate to see
As
it,
long as
but
as long
that's
as
what
they
it
keep
is.
pieces on defense, they should be able to contend with anyone.
Yeah. Um I don't see what's stopping that team anytime soon. Like it would have to be a true outlier thing to happen to that team. We're just
Something, yeah.
something none of us expect.
Exactly. There'd have to be a series of unfortunate events in like the championship game or early playoff game where Patrick Mahomes isn't himself and he throws like 4 interceptions or something like that.
Yep.
One of them gets injured.
Yeah.
Something happens in
I
the
don't
playoffs.
Oh,
see
it
that
doesn't even matter
happening.
if they get injured now.
Yeah,
That's all what
like,
happened this year.
If they didn't have Kelsey for a game, I wonder if they could be beat in the playoffs by one of those elite teams. If they didn't have him for a game, I could see that. Maybe. I don't know. We're just trying to come up with ways.
That's really like the only imminent threat I see to the Chiefs is that Kelsey retires, I guess. And that's not happening anytime soon. So all right. opposite side of the field, what does this mean for the Eagles? Nick alluded to this a few times. They're going to have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL next season. So, Nick, I'll start with you. What do you see in store for the Eagles?
Yeah, like me and Tony were talking about on the Super Bowl preview show, it's that they're gonna have the hardest schedule next year. So we're gonna really see what they're made of, and if they can actually make it through that, because they faced adversity in this game, and they let the Chiefs come back. So we're gonna have to see what they're able to do next year. If they can make it through that schedule, I doubt they'll be the number one seed. But what other competition is there really in the NFC aside from your Cowboys, Tony? So if they can make it through next year, then they would have a shot to do something. But these rookie contracts are going to start coming up, and they're going to have to find a way to pay these people.
That's the big thing I see for the Eagles is those contracts are going to come due eventually. One thing that is to their benefit is they do have draft picks coming up for them. So they can potentially restock, but even so, don't see them beating the Chiefs. I could see them potentially back in the NFC Championship. But don't see them winning a Super Bowl. I said I'd eat humble pie if the Eagles won a Super Bowl and ended up being the best team in the league, because I got a lot of criticism for constantly putting the Chiefs at my number one in the power rankings, but proved to be true. I
Yeah.
said it all season. I don't see the Eagles beating the Chiefs, and that's exactly what happened. Even with draft picks, even with free agent pickups, don't see you beating the Chiefs. Chiefs look unstoppable right now. So, Eagles might have continued success in the NFC, but the NFC, like, there's a lot of parity there as well. Teams are constantly just flipping around players and coaches, and yeah. But I could see them back in the championship, but nothing really beyond that.
Well, that's the thing with the Eagles. They got to pay Hurts now. And now they're like in a race against the Chargers and the Bengals. And one of them is going to pay the quarterback. And then you also have the Lamar Jackson X factor in there, too. One of those dudes is going to set the market, and then they're going to go above that. So once the Eagles pay Hurts, they're not going to be able to have as stocked a team. So then the expectations will be, I want this performance that I saw in the Super Bowl when you were surrounded by elite talent on offense and defense. But now you're not going to have that. Like, I literally watched all of this happen with Dak Prescott. We watch all this happen with all these rookie quarterbacks. Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield. They're surrounded by this talent. As soon as you have to pay them, the talent dissipates and they're not able to elevate the rest of the squad. And the Eagles are crafty. Like, holy crap, that little tush push QB sneak play that was like unstoppable, but they're having to go ahead and rule it out. But they lost both coordinators. The NFC does have that parity, but I honestly think the Niners were the best team in the NFC. And if it wasn't for some bad luck, I think they would have won the conference. So I think they'll be there next year. I think that McCaffrey trade was insanely impactful for a running back trade. Like, they lost one game after they traded him, and it was in the NFC Championship game. So I think they'll be there. The Cowboys possibly should be in the conversation. The Eagles have one of the best GMs in the league. Like Howie Roseman, like you said, they have 2 first-round picks. So maybe that'll go ahead and help replace some of the talent that they lose, but they have to hit on those picks. So they'll be in conversation in the NFC, because if Aaron Rodgers leaves the Packers, like, it's just not very deep of a conference. So like, they're gonna be in conversation. But like you said, we were all right. We all thought the Eagles were fraudulent all season. We didn't think they were better than the Chiefs. We didn't think they were better than these AFC teams. And it turned out to be true. I just think that was their best shot. What we saw was the best possible shot the Eagles will ever have to beat the Chiefs. I don't think they'll ever get an opportunity like that again. And I think it'll just be another team that tries to beat the Chiefs. And they'll be in it. They're going to be a good team still in the NFC, but I just think it'll be another team. Like, maybe the Niners will get there. I don't know.
Niners, until I see who their quarterback is, like, I can't really put them above the Eagles right now either. Like, yes, like, they have an amazing roster, but like, they still got to sort out that QB problem.
Yeah. But with Shanahan, it doesn't really even matter what quarterback it is. He'll find a way to make one work. The problem in the NFC Championship game is he literally had no quarterback.
Yeah,
That can
yeah.
throw a ball.
But I will say
healthy.
this about Jalen Hurts, that yeah, Lamar Jackson's going to get paid first, and he's going to unfortunately set the market. And someone like Jalen Hurts is going to like he did play well in that Super Bowl. He had some turnovers, but like that's to be expected from a young QB playing in that kind of situation against that kind of defense. But I digress.
He
Jalen
wasn't a
Hurts,
first round pick, right? He was not.
Hmm?
He was
not.
not a
Jalen
first
Hurts,
round
no,
pick, so he
no.
doesn't. The Eagles don't get that 5th-year option with him.
Nope.
Yeah. So most likely what's gonna happen is Lamar Jackson's gonna get paid and Jalen Hurts is gonna look to his team and say, like, hey, like I got to a Super Bowl. Like I played amazing in that Super Bowl. Like had we won that game, I would have been Super Bowl MVP. Something Lamar Jackson has not done. Like, why am I not entitled to that kind of money?
Mm-hmm.
And Eagles aren't going to be able to pay that because Lamar Jackson's looking for Deshaun Watson type money.
Yeah. Once
And
again, the Browns
it,
screwed everything up.
yeah, it's going to fuck a lot of things up. And if I'm Jalen Hurts and I'm his agent, I'm saying, like, I got to a Super Bowl, man. Like, I've done something he hasn't done. Pay me.
Lamar Jackson does have an MVP though.
He does, but MVPs aren't like getting to the Super Bowl.
I have a question. Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow? Which one of those quarterbacks do you think would be willing to take less?
Burrow, no.
Yeah, I could see Burrow easily doing the Tom Brady thing
Yeah.
of being like, yeah, I'll take a little less to like be more protected or have better weapons.
Is that just because of his style of play?
That's kind of just who he is, I guess. That's just
Fair
his
enough.
weird kind of character. But like, and I'm not saying this is like a good or a bad thing. I'm not saying like Jalen Hurts is greedy or anything. Like Jalen Hurts deserves to ask for that kind of money.
Oh yeah,
Now,
agreed.
Yeah.
and Burrow deserves to ask for that kind of money too. But I think
Mhm.
Burrow also realizes that like, no, like
Weapons.
I'm looking for rings. Like I'm not looking for a paycheck. Like I can make that up with endorsements and stuff like that. Whereas I don't necessarily think someone like Jalen Hurts can make up that kind of money through
That's what
endorsements and
sucks.
whatnot.
So it sucks. Like as soon as they pay Burrow too, they're not going to be able to keep one of those
Mhm.
receivers or whatever. And Bengals might have missed the boat too. They might have missed their best 2 shots at a Super Bowl these past
Yeah.
couple years. Like I don't know. I really
But if
don't.
I'm Burrow, like I see what happened in Seattle, like I see what happened in like Tennessee and like
Yeah.
other situations around the league where you do have to just like take this huge cap hit with your QB. It never works out. And it always ends up being more of a detriment to your career as a QB than it is a detriment to that franchise. And so that's why I'd say it sometimes is in your best benefit to just take less money, build a
Yeah.
team around you. Tom Brady saw that. For as
Yep.
dumb as he may be, like he was smart about that. And that like that helped build his success. That helped build the Patriots' success.
Yeah.
Was those team friendly contracts. That was just as much
I
went
agree with
into
you.
it as his play on the field.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it took to Pat Mahomes. Like now, he was the breaker, like the last quarterback to win MVP and a Super Bowl in the same year. Like he is the he has taken up the most part of the salary cap as any quarterback has ever in salary cap era. I think it's like 16 or 17% of the salary cap. It took a Patrick Mahomes quarterback. Like before the line was like 13 or 14% of the salary cap. It took a Patrick Mahomes, but he's like on some crazy 10-year deal taking up that part of the salary cap. Usually, like you're right, you have to be like Tom Brady. You have to be surrounded with these elite parts. Like it doesn't work otherwise. But I mean, you can't hate these guys for trying to get their money, but we've just seen it too many times, man.
And I'm not minimizing Tom Brady's career, but in terms of value, Patrick Mahomes is more valuable than Tom Brady.
Oh yeah,
Just by like his style of play and like what he's able to do. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Like
insanely talented, ridiculous.
and honestly, like during Tom Brady's career, I would have said that about Peyton Manning. That
Yeah,
just his
Yeah.
talent on the field is more valuable than any player that you can get out there, essentially. So, all right, moving on. Looking forward to next year. Entirely too early. 2024 Super Bowl odds. Let's take a look at these gentlemen. All right, Chiefs favorite plus 600, Bills second favorite, plus 850. Eagles, third, plus 900. Bengals, plus 900. And then rounding out the top 5 is the Niners, also plus 900. Worst odds for the Super Bowl. We'll start working our way to the bottom. We have the Bucks plus 7,500, Falcons plus 7,500, Colts plus 28,000, Cardinals plus 28,000, Texans plus 28,000. Honestly, I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on the Cardinals. Like, hey, like maybe Kyler Murray turns it around, like this new coach gets them going, they suddenly get to the Super Bowl. Who knows? But yeah, no faith in the Colts, Cardinals, or Texans. We all talked about it. There were some bad teams last year. And then Falcons and Bucks. Yeah, it looks like the NFC South is gonna be a butt division next year.
Once again.
Let's go over these odds. Start with you, Nick. Anything stand out for you? Any thoughts on this list?
I mean, I'm glad all 3 of our teams are on the top half of this list. So that's something to look forward to.
Cowboys.
Yeah,
They
Cowboys are the top one
outside
out of our
looking in on
teams.
that top
Yeah,
5 plus 1,500 at the 6th
Yeah.
spot.
yeah,
Broncos plus 3,500, Dolphins plus 3,000.
yeah.
So Sean Payton, I would say, is a pretty decent boost for the Broncos right there when they were a bottom 3 team last season.
Yeah, you guys were looking like the Colts over there.
I'll tell you guys what surprised me about this list. The Minnesota Vikings plus 4,000. Vegas got no faith in them apparently, and it's essentially the same team that they had this year coming back, and so
I mean, if they did make it to the Super Bowl, it'd still be Kirk Cousins in prime time. So Vegas knows something.
How? Come on, man. The Vikings and Kirk Cousins making it to the Super Bowl. Like, what? That's just not a world.
and a team rated above them, directly above them, is New Orleans Saints. So like, it's just, yeah, Vikings, no faith in them, phony team. Go ahead, Nick.
I think that's a little low for the Vikings, especially taking on Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator. One of their problems is they were giving up too many points last year, and they were playing those close games. So I think bringing in someone like Brian Flores could definitely help them.
All right.
Especially if Aaron Rodgers is no longer in that division.
Other playoff team coming in low is the Giants at plus 4,000. The Seahawks plus 6,000. And well, we talked about the Bucks, but yeah, they're not going to make the playoffs. Tony, anything stand out for you before we move on?
Yes. Your Detroit Lions 25-1. That is gonna entice.
Same odds as the Packers. Same odds as the Packers.
Gonna entice a lot of people.
And in fact, them and the Packers favored to win that division. So
yeah, that's while Aaron Rodgers is still on the team.
If Aaron Rodgers leaves,
those drop dramatically. Because I don't see Jordan Love with 25 plus 2,500 odds.
True.
All right. We'll do one last thing before we wrap up the season. We move on to basketball finally. Tony, give us truly shocking stat of the day that you have for us. It's pretty wild. We were going over it pre-show. Wild list. Tony, go.
Okay. Each of the last 16 quarterbacks to lose in their Super Bowl debut have never made it back to the big game as the starter. And I don't know if this list is updated, but it has Joe Burrow, Jimmy G, Jared Goff, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick, Rex Grossman, Matt Hasselbeck, Donovan McNabb. That's a lot of NFC, as Billings was observing. Yeah. Jake Delhomme, then Rich Gannon, Kerry Collins, Steve McNair, Chris Chandler, Drew Bledsoe, Neil O'Donnell, Stan Humphries. All the way back to 95. Not good for you Eagles fans. I'm sorry. Not good. Not good news.
Well, we talked about it pre-show as well, of just like I go back all the way to the Falcons versus the Broncos in the Super Bowl. It just seems like there's always that NFC team that just goes on a run one year, and
Mm-hmm.
then we never hear from them ever again. And it's a weird phenomenon. It really is. Like just recently, like Cam Newton and the Panthers.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan and the Falcons. It's truly weird. Like I'll give credit to the Niners. They did get back, although it was a different QB, different coach. And then same with the Rams, although that was just a different QB the second time around.
Mhm.
But it's
Yeah.
a weird phenomenon. Nick, did you have any thoughts on this list?
I thought it was pretty interesting, but yeah, it's crazy.
Does not look good for Jalen Hurts.
No, it doesn't.
Eagles, but
I mean, I guess the key is you got to win your first Super Bowl
yeah,
if you want
Yeah.
to keep going back.
Yep.
damn it, Patrick Mahomes. Damn it.
Man, the Cowboys suck. That's my thought as I look at that list and go through those NFC teams for like the last 10, and I'm just like, God, the Cowboys suck. How are we not in any of these? Go ahead, Billings.
No, that's all I got. Like I said, I'm done on this NFL season.
At least for the
Wanna-
next couple months.
Yeah.
No, I'm done for a few months. Bring on some basketball. Bring on hell some baseball right now. That's just where I'm at in the stage. It is
the
awesome
draft
though.
is in Kansas City.
Oh
They
God,
opened the
yeah.
season in Kansas City. Those bastards.
Yep.
Thanks for the reminder, Tony. I appreciate you.
You're welcome, man.
So no, that wraps up our NFL season. Thank you to everyone that watched along the way. Huge year for us, and thank you to everyone that took this journey with us. So now we transition to basketball. Next time you see me, I'll have some basketballs behind me. We'll be talking the association. Probably talk about some March Madness. So thank you everyone. Check us out on social media at the Sports Buds. Anywhere on social media. And yeah, thank you everyone. Good night. It's been a great football season. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Tony. We'll see you back here for basketball.
Thanks for watching the Sports Buds. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe.